Why are the Hoteps so obsessed with ancient Egypt, which they refer to as Kemet? It's for the same reason why almost everyone, including white people, are fascinated with the civilization. It is one of the earliest empires on record. They created magnificent structures, including the pyramids of Giza, and buried royals with entire tombs of treasures. As such, Egypt has embedded itself within the Western imagination. For Black people particularly, a lot of us gravitated towards ancient Egypt because it was an advanced civilization within Africa. Now, there is this ongoing controversy or debate whether or not ancient Egyptians were Black. While Black people, as we understand us today, particularly Nubians from the south, were present in Egypt, no one really knows if they were the majority of the population. As such, there is very little evidence to say that the people inhabiting Egypt now weren't the same people who lived there before. Now, anyone who is familiar with the transatlantic slave trade or basic migration patterns within Africa will know that us Black Americans have very little lineage with ancient Egypt. We are from this place called West Africa. Our ancestors were largely Yoruba, with a minority in the Mandinka, Igbo, and Bantu ethnic groups. In fact, we share more culture and commonality with white Americans than we do with ancient Egyptians.
Looking for my Johnny. Yeah. Where is my Johnny? Johnny boy. Do you know Johnny? Question. If I know see my Johnny, Johnny show. Looking for my Johnny. I'm looking for my honey. You're telling me this, you're telling me that. I say this is not for me.
What's most annoying about the Hotep's fascination with ancient Egypt is just how much actual African history they ignore. African history is far greater than just one civilization on the Nile. To name a few, you have the Mali Empire, Benin, the Zulus, the Ashanti, the Congo kingdoms, and the Dahomey. And that's just within a period of 400 years and a few hundred square miles of land. After all, we're talking about the birthplace of civilization, where society, science, and culture was developed for thousands upon thousands of years before the scramble for Africa in the 1880s. There's no need to mythologize the African continent when there's already so much there to learn and a lot more to discover. This sort of mythologizing based on ethnicity is not too dissimilar to the Aryan mythology propagated by Europeans through the 19th and 20th centuries. How did this mythology go? Well, back then, as they say, they were a race of superhuman conquerors whose science was more advanced than anything else. And then the Jews destroyed them. Yeah. One can see why this sort of reasoning is actually pretty dangerous.
The media is controlled by them, and their strategy is divide and conquer. As long as they can keep us fighting, they can always present themselves as the solution and profit. Hotep and alt-right are not fighting, so guess who's hip to the game?
When we create and breed nationalist or pseudo-nationalist myths about ourselves, it leads to lack of critical thinking, but also dehumanization of others.
If you're not of African descent, you are 96% human being only and 4% Neanderthal. Look it up, scientific fact. Only African people or people of African descent or lineage are 100% human beings. This is a scientific genetic fact. Look it up. Now, whoa, where does the difference come in? Because Black people, we are the true human beings. We are a true human species. All other races, as you want to call it, have a lineage of Neanderthal, being genetic defect. A white person can literally catch cancer from a Black person who is conscious because our bodies emit the same radiation as the sun because we are just a condensed form of sunlight. Because I'm emitting a certain level of radiation which is actually killing them on a substellar level. So a white person for too long cannot even physically survive around an intelligent Black person.
And this shit is in their blood. So I'm asking your silly ass, with all the dumb shit that you talking, we don't care about nothing. The sisters doesn't want to know is you fucking crackers. Because if you fucking crackers, You got some of this nasty shit in you, nigga. We don't want to hear nothing else. Come on, now we talk about the devil. Some people say the devil don't exist. See? But there's attributes in the devil. He got that goat head. Huh? Keep it moving. Huh? Ain't that one of them Khazars? Ain't that one of them Jews?
I don't know how many times I've heard Hoteps just go on and on and on about how homosexuality was not unique to the black condition until the white man bred it into us. And the reason why the white man bred it into us is so they could make black men effeminate. Like, that is Dr. Umar Johnson's central thesis.
Planned Parenthood International, the same Planned Parenthood that is giving black women abortions all across America, okay, is also the same Planned Parenthood that also contributed to the brainstorming and think tanking that went into using homosexuality as a population control strategy in the black community. And in 1972, the Rockefeller World Population Council, with influence, with some coaching by Planned Parenthood International, decided that it would be best if homosexuality would no longer be treated as an abnormal condition and that it be propagated in the black community as a healthy lifestyle choice. You have homosexual supremacy, which is the coming age of social order in the black community, where any black person, particularly black men, in order for you to be successful as an entrepreneur, as an athlete, as an entertainer, as a clergyman, okay, you're going to have to bend over and have sexual relations with a homosexual male to prove that you are still the white man's bitch.
To promote certain values, they will look for somebody and scapegoat in order to make a demon, in order for us to feel better about ourselves or for them to feel better about themselves. It's the oldest trick in the book. And then, of course, the misogyny. How many times do they call black women queens and goddesses, right? But you're not a queen or a goddess if you behave in a certain way that questions or makes men uncomfortable. So, for example, if you're out here twerking, next thing you know, you're not a goddess. Goddesses don't twerk. Goddesses don't wear bathing suits and everything. Even if they're upset at Serena Williams marrying some white guy, I have nothing to say when a black dude's marrying a white woman or going after a white woman. Like, okay, so what claim do you have?
Swirling does not apply to niggas, because that's not what swirling is. Swirling is that Serena shit. Swirling is our sisters running around with Salt Bay.
Everybody's mad at Serena. I used to leave her alone.
Swirling is revenge dating. You understand? Revenge porn. You're not just getting with homie because you did the research on Europeans in the conscious community and it showed you who they were, it showed you who you were, so you're probably like, fuck that. I'm gonna dominate. So I'm gonna get me a white boy because not only does he treat me better, I learned that I breastfed them when they were babies as a mammy. I learned that they're easier to manipulate, they're easier to deal with, they're easier to talk to. Whatever the hell is the reasoning behind this mass exodus that we're beginning to see with our sisters.
That's generally who they are. I mean, just a bunch of pseudo-nationalists, pseudo-historical, ahistorical, really, conspiracy theorists, misogynists, homophobic, anti-Semites. It's not too indifferent from the alt-right, as I call them. So, funny, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Egypt was a black land. Yeah, time Mary. Egypt was a black land. King Tut was a black man. How'd I do?